Good morning. Good morning. Now we can hear me. And welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. I am your host, A.D. Walker, the pusher, the grower, the motivator. I don't know why it changes. It's got another setting that was never there before, but maybe whatever. Thank you, my podcast people, for always being here, being a part, and connecting with us as well. Thank you, Lisa. Good morning. Blessings and share. Good morning, Cheryl. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a part. Thank you for watching. Yeah, I know. I have to consciously make sure now that I come on, I got to make sure the setting is correct. Especially every time I unplug everything and move my computer and do some things. So I appreciate that. I saw the numbers drop. I was like, oh, they can't hear me again. So yeah, I definitely appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for hanging with me and coming back. Make sure you share. Make sure you are tagging other people. I've never seen anybody tag. I say tag, throw somebody, throw somebody. Yeah, no, I know. I got to check it. It's a daily activity now because I realize it switches on its own. It's got a mind of its own, a mind of its own. So tag somebody, tag at least one person in this conversation. Um, that you want to be a part. Tag one man, especially a man, that you want to be a part of the conversation because like I said, most of these conversations we have, I know you've had in private with other people. So we're having this conversation here to kind of drill down what people are thinking, um, not necessarily to be persuasive, but to get to some level of understanding. And this is what Brothers of Legacy is, especially the broadcast, is all about. And today, I want to talk is unity really a struggle, or are we connecting to the wrong people? And a lot of times, you know, we want all of us to come together for one common goal. But are you just your goals, and is the connection not happening because unification is difficult, or are we just picking the wrong set of people? That is the question. We always talk about unification, but we know good and well that you can't connect with everybody. It's not something that can be done all the time. So today I want to dig into that. Today I want to talk about that. Um, hear your thoughts on it, and we can definitely go from there. Good morning, Keita. Great morning to you. Again, like I said, make sure you share. Sharing is caring. Inbox those that you want part of this conversation and let them know that the brothers are in the building. And if you are missing, oh, you know what I didn't do? I did it again. Ah, man. Let's see. Hold on. Let's do this. I saw Keita. I know she's like, I didn't get a notification. Dropping the ball on my notifications. Um, Join our community so you get a notification about our broadcasts. I thought I did it, but I just looked at the phone and I didn't get one. So I didn't do it. I didn't do it. So make sure you are definitely connecting there. We're gonna go ahead and get started. But make sure, like I said, make sure you're sharing, make sure you're talking to others, letting everybody know that Brothers of the Legacy is here, having those unique and difficult conversations out loud in public, because this is how we move forward. This is how we become better, having these conversations and not having them, so many side conversations where there is no movement, that you're looking for some kind of answer, that you're looking for some kind of shift in your community. Um, and it doesn't happen because, you're not having the out loud conversations. Let's see. Did I not send that? Yeah, I sent it. All right. Having those out loud conversations. So today, like I said, is unity a real struggle, or are we connecting with the wrong people? So if you're saying something, just give me one moment. I'm trying to do the right thing. Bam. So people know we are in the building. Bam. All right, let's go. Let's go. All right. Let's see. Thank you for being a friend. All right. There we go. Welcome back. All right. So, oh man. What's up, Rich? Good morning, sir. Good morning. So yeah, definitely make sure you share. I'm serious. Like share with some other folk so they can be a part of this conversation. I mean, I already know a lot of people know about this. A lot of people know about this broadcast, but a lot of people do not get notifications because Facebook wants you to pay for these notifications. Just keeping it real. Like, they let you ride out for a couple of years for free and be able to connect with everybody, and everybody sees your posts. Now they want you to pay for those boost posts. Now they want you to pay for Facebook ads, especially if you're coming from a business page. That's the goal. And I get it because it's a free platform. They got to make money somehow. So I ain't mad. I'm a little annoyed, but it's all good because you give you something, then it take it away. So, this is an opportunity. Make sure you share so we can have this conversation. You keep to get better. I guess keep getting better, get better. I'm gonna take that. So I appreciate you guys. Hey, Mama McCoy, great morning to you. So yeah, like I said, again, make sure you share, let everybody know that we are in the building. All right. That's all. Without further ado, we're gonna go ahead and get started. It might be just me this morning, but we shall see. All right, be right back. All right. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. And welcome to another edition of the Brothers of Legacy. The option. All right. All right. All right. Sorry about that, guys. Let's get it. Let's see. There we go. Bam. All right. All right. Hold on. One more thing before we get started. He said, "Is there a truth to saying a woman is scorned? A to well, that truth to saying a woman scorned is a dangerous thing." It's listen, Mama Corey said, "Yes." Listen, listen. It's you don't ever. Yeah. Well, I mean, the Bible even says you'd rather be on the top corner of the rooftops to be in the house with I think with in the house with an angry woman. Basically, if the Bible says it, is there truth? Indeed, there is. Indeed, there is. Listen, the Bible. I was like, you don't want to fool with a woman like that. Just you'd rather be on the top of the house in the corner than be in the house with her. So yeah, there is some truth to that. All right. Good morning, Pastor. All right. All right. We'll come back. We'll come back. All right. Let's see. Hold on. Is there? There we go. Bam. All right.
My computer's got COVID.
Need that shot. Need that vaccine. Oh man. Or you could pour some bleach on it or something.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with this day. Good morning, everybody.
Yes,
Happy
indeed.
Wednesday to all. Thank the Lord for another day.
Yes, thank the Lord for another day. So yeah, like I said, today we're talking about is unity really a struggle or are we connecting to the wrong people?
Huh.
Um I I started thinking about this a couple of days ago, just from some of the connections of people I've known and know, and the ability to get things done. And I started thinking, I know we always scream, and all right, so I'm gonna do a Richard. It's part of the same conversation, but you ever think about, like, is this thing true or is this just because everybody says it, right? So like the adage of the black father, right? They constantly push the black father's not there, not there, not there, not there. He's not there. Overall, black fathers aren't in their kids' life. They ain't around. They ain't there until 2010. The CDC research comes out, and you realize, oh, black fathers are not only there, they're more active than all other fathers of other races and descents in the U.S. So, if a narrative is constantly spoken, um, is it necessarily still true, right? So we talk about there's no unity in the community, but I see it. Like, I witnessed it, experienced some of it, and yeah, there's gonna be people, and I just say people, there's people that's gonna burn you, or like we talk about not knowing the relationship you have with others, where they're at. You know, Once we did a project, they left. Well, they weren't really there for the long haul. They were there for that one particular project. I know you fell in love with them, their personality, they were great, but did you have the conversation of what goes on after this project? What goes on after we finish this thing? So I think that sometimes it's misunderstanding. And granted, like, when it comes to, if Pastor's a service provider and I need a service, um, you know, Pastor's trying to maximize the amount he gets. He's not trying to rip me off, but he's trying to maximize, make the most profit possible. Whereas
Right.
I'm trying to pay as little as possible, and we come to a crossroads. Like, and he explained, like, you need this many hours. This is what I could do for this many hours and this kind of work, and I think people take that, they just charging too much. Nobody wants to work with you. Like, it's some of those misunderstandings, right? That gets thrown in the nobody wants to work together, you
Right.
know, kind of conversation. So I pose this question because I constantly hear it, or constantly hear it, on social media. If I probably put up now, do you feel like black people work together? And particularly black people, black people work together? Most people probably say no. Like, no, no, no. And then my follower was like, have you ever reached out? How many relationships have you had? Somebody like one, and I was done. Like, so you got Junebug, who did you wrong, and now he represents everybody. I want to throw that out there, and just want you to kind of let me know, chime in what you think. People in the audience as well, like, how do you feel? Do you feel like this is still a statement that's true personally, not just what you heard? Personally, what is your personal encounters and things of that nature? Pastor, how do you feel like there's still like a struggle to come together, or are we connecting with the wrong people, or is this like propaganda? I'll throw that word out there. Or is it still just it's what may have been, but it's not?
You mean in terms of our community?
Yeah, let's just dig into our community. It's me and you. Most folks have here. Even Richard is a cousin. So yeah.
I still think it's relative. There are
Okay.
certain communities that get along great,
Right.
have great function, great synergy, and there's others who don't even know their neighbors.
Right. Right.
So I think the reality is the Bible says that the power of life and death is or death and life is in the power of the tongue.
Right.
So you ask the question, just because you say it too many times, or if you keep saying it enough, doesn't make it true.
Right.
Reality is, if death and life is in the power of the tongue, you can speak truth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can speak a lie long enough where it becomes your reality.
Right.
So man thinketh, so is he.
Yes.
Right. And so if you think dismemberment, if you think dysfunction, you'll operate dysfunctionally.
Right.
Because you have an expectation that that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
My wife and I just had this conversation. You know, she had a business dealing with someone recently, and there was one actor, one character in this business arrangement that probably she heard probably 3 or 4 different people say, well, this individual I don't like working with. I don't like the attitude of this individual. Never wants to get things done the right way. You know, always wants things their own way. You know, and you insert my wife into the situation.
Right.
And she comes to me and she says, I just don't want to approach this individual with whatever with what I've heard from everybody else.
Right. That's like the worst.
Right.
That's the worst.
Yeah. And I said, well, that's the best approach you can have.
Right.
Is to draw your own conclusion.
Right. Yeah.
You know? And so just because everybody's saying it doesn't make it true.
Right.
And just because you're the only one saying it doesn't make it a lie.
Right. Yes, indeed.
You understand? And these are things that we teach our children.
Right.
And so, you know, I think that community is what you make it. I would say that overall, we have some challenges, but I think every demographic has challenges.
Yeah, definitely.
Is ours more than anybody else's? Where are those numbers? Where are those statistics?
Right. That's good.
Because I'm not in their community like that.
Right.
I'm in mine.
Right.
And so I think that I think we all have room to grow. But I just my issue here is I no longer want to kill myself by comparison. I'm no longer trying to compare what my community is doing versus another demographic. Right. Unless we're talking numbers, I can say, here's how we perform in this area.
Right. You
here's
can
how
see
we
numbers.
perform in this area. You know, those are the things that that's how I look at it. So that because the reality is this is what keeps us trapped.
Yes.
In us versus them.
Yes. You know, I'm with you. Lisa says, I think it depends on the individual. It depends on the individual and their ability to connect and work with others. I personally see unity and people intentionally coming together to work together. Yeah.
Right. Because you just haven't ran into the one who just wants to stir up trouble.
Right. Right.
I froze.
Right.
I froze. Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. You froze.
I told you my laptop has COVID.
We're gonna pray. We're gonna pray for the laptop.
Yeah, I got some oil.
Yeah, so I think it definitely. I'm gonna give you a minute to kind of do the thing. So yeah, I definitely think it is individual. And right, kind of like how we talk about not getting caught up in someone else's lane. Is the same thing we have to do with our community. Stay focused on what we're trying to build, what we're trying to do. And not let, you know, and not put our community down because it's something we see on somebody else's side. Because let's keep it real, you know, they got issues as well. Like as much as listen, my family was like, we're kind of weird. We weren't really connected like that. So I used to see other families like, man, I love to be in that family. You know, like, man, they so tight. They fight, but they seem like they just.
But you won't call anybody.
Right. Right.
You know why they're like that? Because they call. You know?
Right. Exactly.
That's the thing, and so that's what I love. Like, you know, we know people like that. You know, I think about certain families that I'm connected to, and they have real great bonds and all of that. And I'm like, wow, I wish we could be more like that. And I do. I'll make that call.
Right.
You know, and I'll deal with that rejection. But I'll deal with the rejection feeling better about having made the call.
Right. Like I'm making an attempt.
I'm going to extend the olive branch. I'm going to say, hey, I'm going to reach out, you know. And I'm not normally one, like, I don't, before email, before social media.
Right.
I didn't write letters, man. I just
you didn't write the letters.
Nah. I've been all over the world, and when I left, that was it. I'm the kind of guy, you write me a letter, I'm like, oh, that's so nice. They wrote me a letter. I don't write back. It's not that I don't like people. It was just my personality. I lived the life of, out of sight is out of mind.
Right.
That's how it was. And I know that I probably burned some relationships because of it. Not that I didn't like the people, not that I didn't appreciate the relationship, but it just was not part of my personality to communicate on that level. My youngest brother, write letters all day long. He's got relationships that span 40 years because he's maintained communication. He talks to people. He visits people. Man, I don't visit people. I don't write people. People are like, hey, I hadn't heard from you in a long time. Hey, it's good to hear from you. You could call me. Yeah, I could.
Yeah, I could call you. Yeah, I could. He said,
yes, Lisa.
I'll throw that up there. Great example, Nehemiah building the wall and everyone came together and did their part without any strife because everyone was focused on the bigger picture. Yeah.
And Nehemiah said it himself. I'm going to work on my side. I'm doing the work for the Lord so they cannot come down. I don't have time for all that other stuff because they tried to get him to come down off the wall with drama. He was like, nah, I don't have time for that. I gotta focus on this work.
Right.
And a lot of us, we lose because we get caught up in the drama of things. We get it's the distractions that destroy.
Right. Those distractions. I think why they got a little more than I got? How the pastor doing so much better? Like, where's he getting his fund? And not focused on the purpose. What's our goal? What are we pushing towards? When there's, if we have a goal, and I think that's what happens also when you unify, that's how teams fall apart. We watch enough R&B groups that are falling apart. That like they could still be killing it like right now.
There's a series right now on TV One. What is it called?
Which one?
They keep talking about all these R&B groups.
It's on TV One. Why can I? Now where are they now? What is it called?
I forgot.
Somebody knows it.
Somebody put it in the comments.
Yeah, put in the comments.
That's on TV One. Talks about all these R&B groups
and
from back in the day.
Yeah.
And I preach that message. Sometimes you just don't know.
Right.
You just don't know what people have gone through. And Teddy Riley, Blackstreet, those guys, they're still in a riff.
Right.
Still. Yes. I mean, like there's money on the table.
Yes.
Right now today.
Yes. Because they won't come sign. Well, I think is it Teddy? One of them won't come sign something and just to release.
They got mad because somebody asked for a certain amount of money. They fell out. And Teddy was like, let's pay him. Give him the money. It doesn't matter. And other people, he wasn't here in the beginning. Unsung. That's it. Unsung.
Appreciate it.
And Teddy Riley comes out and says, we still have royalties, uncollected royalties, because until they get it straight, I'm not signing. I'm like,
right.
And it's okay for him because he's making his money, but there's guys that are broke.
Right. Because it's the only thing they had.
Right.
That's all we had.
But pride won't let him give in.
Right. It said, Sam says, being connected to the wrong people can cause a struggle and unity because there are so many people who are so involved in themselves and don't have room for anyone else, are the interest and what others are doing to help the community to be stronger and working together with love and unity. In order to have a strong community, we must fight for the same cause. Indeed. I think though, like, and which is the basis of my original question, is unity really a struggle, or are we connected to the wrong people? We got to agree that everybody's not going to be able to unify at the same level. Some can just, hey, be in the crowd. I need you to be in the crowd while we take this march. Like I disagree. You agree with what we're doing, just you hang back because I already know either you're messy, it's just not your skill set to be in the unification part. So just be a part somehow. Just give us some numbers And then there's those that can actually be a part, be constructive, can see the vision and put down any petty issues to fight the fight. I think, and sometimes just we get into the habit of connecting with the wrong people. And we don't, I don't know, I guess you can see the signs, but you get starry-eyed, like, well, Pastor can build this though. Like, he's so great at such and such, but everything else is jacked up, but he's so great. let's put that aside. But his personality is like, I want to be first. And if he's not getting that, it doesn't matter what he can do, because he's gonna leave, and leave us high and dry. Oh, is that true enough? Seeing the vision is so important. Yes, indeed. Gotta see the vision, gotta understand where we're going, gotta understand what we're trying to create. And I think
that goes back to Unsam's previous message, right? Fighting for the same cause. Sometimes we fall out because we don't have the same cause.
Right. That's true.
We may have the same goal, but we're two different components.
Okay.
And I think we lose sight. That's why she says the vision. We lose sight of the vision. The goal is for us to come together.
Right.
You may bring something different to the table, but because we assign value to the different gifts that we bring to the table, we create confusion. We create division. We create distractions, because if I come to the table, if I'm a chef, and you are an auto mechanic, it depends on what value you put on food versus mechanics to determine what seat I have at the table. Right.
Sure. Yeah.
Now, if the conversation today is about the bus to get us to where we're going, the mechanic is going to have more value.
Right. Hey, Cheryl. Good morning.
Has value is while you're working on the bus, somebody gets hungry.
Right.
But because the topic at the table was about the bus, the chef got sent outside because you're not a part of this conversation. Now that everybody's hungry, the chef is mad.
Right.
You want a sandwich and he just gives you crackers. I mean, I know it's silly, but this is the kind of stuff, that we get in trouble with. Preachers, a bishop sitting at the table with a group of bishops and a minister walks in the room.
Right.
You haven't earned the right to sit at this table.
Right.
The minister's like, well, aren't we all going to heaven? like what are you going to talk about that I can't hear? Right. You understand?
Right.
And I'm saying this is and I'm not saying that it's there are times, know your place and all that kind of stuff. But I'm saying this is the stuff that gets us in trouble, because, if you don't have a good understanding, if you don't set good expectations within the group, within the community, it's the Bible says it's the small foxes that spoil the vine, So if we're going to talk about mechanics, let's invite the technical people to the table, and let's let the food people know the purpose of this meeting is for this, and it's not going to have any value for you. You'll benefit because you'll be a passenger. Right. But you can focus on these other areas. We don't want to waste your time in this conversation.
True.
True.
Aunt Sam said, laugh out loud, the mechanic in the year has a great connection, because if my car breaks down when I'm going shopping to get food for the cafe, I need a mechanic to get me back on the road. Right. So we have great connections. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Having that, everybody knowing their role, playing their part, and knowing how they are helping in the vision. Like you said, you got the mechanic, you got the cook, who are kind of two separate areas that shall never touch, but both have an essential piece. One helps to get in a place, the other sustains while we're in places. So definitely knowing your role, and that is some of the key. Like, what is your role? Knowing exactly what part you play, and just play it.
And when you play it,
right?
Because the mechanic and the chef both are equally important. We got to get from A to Z, and we got to eat. But there's different times. You get applied at different times. And I think it's important for us to understand that.
Yeah, definitely. Richard had a question. I think it's good. I think it might be good. Okay. Said, what 5 key things do you think majorly important in any opportunity and deal? I guess in terms of unifying and picking the right people. I'm assuming that's the question that you're asking based on what we're talking about, or if it's something else. Please clarify, Richard. So, Pastor, if you wanted to answer or throw some information on that.
I'm looking. I'm trying to figure out what is this acronym. It's what's in it for you?
While we're waiting,
WIIFU me. What's in it for you?
Right.
What's in it for me?
Right.
What's in it for you and me? I think those are, when you talk about key factors in any relationship or any deal,
right?
It's all about the outcome. What is the expected outcome? Right. And what is it going to take to accomplish the outcome? What are your expectations? What are my expectations? What is the covenant agreement that we have? And I think that's, to me, those are fundamental things when it comes to any business arrangement. What do you get? What do I get? What's the impact? What's the expected outcome? I think is important. And depending on the deal, what will this look like a year from now?
True. Having those and we talk about the setting of expectations. So knowing when, from the beginning, when you're getting apart, this is what you're expecting to get out of it. This is what I'm expecting to get out of you. And we play our role. I think that's, so I think that might be like the third, because is it really a struggle? Is it connecting with the wrong people, or are we not communicating correctly? Because sometimes, things fall apart because if the expectation isn't discussed, now I'm assuming I'm making assumptions on my expectations. I'm assuming what you're going to do, and you're assuming what you're going to get out of it. And
it's interesting. You're saying something really interesting, because I have this arrangement with God.
Okay. All right. All right.
I have this arrangement. God says, if you confess with your mouth the Lord Jesus and believe in your heart that I have raised him from the dead, you'll be saved.
Right.
And I'm like, oh, so I want to be saved.
Right.
So in order for me to be saved, I need to confess with my mouth. Right. So that's this arrangement that I have with God.
Gotcha.
Right.
Gotcha.
So he says to me that if I do that, then he wants me to praise him, to serve him, to worship him.
Right.
Right. And in exchange for me worshiping him, praising him, serving him, his favor is on my life.
Right.
Right. But he says, I don't want you to do it because of my favor. I want you to do it because I've given you opportunity. Right.
Gotcha.
So I'm like, well, wait a minute. How can Lord, how am I going to be able to praise you and serve you without an expectation?
Right.
Of something in return? And he says, that's where you got to live. Basically he's saying that's for you to figure out.
Right. That's good.
He's saying to me, you have to prioritize what's more important to you.
Right. Prioritize what's more important.
Is the most important thing to you me, or is it what I can do for you?
Wow. Right. That's good. That's good.
And so now I wrestle with the angel like Jacob.
Right. Holding on till you bless me. He said, I think you're freezing up on me. You're breaking up a little bit.
I got stuff. I think I have.
You need a little shot. All right. I'm gonna take you off, let you come back. All right. So yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So it's that building of relationships, that expectations, and like you said, having that relationship, and using God is the analogy, but it is a true fact. What his word says and what he promises, and then operating in that faith. And so when we're coming back to like the struggle, the connection, or the expectations, when you are setting up when you have a vision and you know where you're going, and when you get people on board, they have to understand, okay, where are we going, and kind of like what am I going to get out of this? I think that's a question we don't have a lot of time. Who watered the grounds? Oh, right. Oh, so yeah. Oh, definitely having the conversation of what is someone going to get out of it. I think we don't discuss that enough. Other than a financial transaction, if someone's volunteering or helping you with something, it has to be, what are they going to get out of it? Whoever's a part of whatever you're doing, what are they getting out of it? And of course, your expectation of what are they putting in. And a lot of times the assumption is always assumed of what they're putting in, because either whatever gift they have, whatever time they have, but the assumption of what they're getting out of it has to always be discussed, has to always come up in the conversation, because I feel like organizations fall apart because they don't have these conversations. And then you have to have the resetting of expectations, because there's a traveling of or a journey into the vision, into the goal, into the organization, and we reach a milestone, and let's have a reset of expectations. Are you good? Are we still good with what you expect to receive? And am I still good at what you're giving? Or do I need more or something different or more of what you're giving? You have a reset of expectations, so it lessens disappointment. It lessens someone going away, I think. So, so I don't really think too much that it's a struggle for the unity. I think not just, and it's not always just connecting with the wrong people. I think it's just the lack of communication that keeps us from really building something more. So just so so next time you're building something and you want people to be a part of, and you're asking them to be a part, ask them, what is their goals? Because sometimes goals mesh. It's not a full agenda. We're not going the exact same place, but we're at least going the same direction. Maybe we can help each other in this length of the journey. Yes, due diligence and scrutiny, scrutinize implementation. Yeah. But you have to have those conversations. I think we lack those conversations. I think that's one of the biggest travesties of coming together. It's the reason a lot of groups fall apart. Now, they never reset expectations. I've watched enough biographies, expectations are never reset. What are we trying to build here? What are we trying to do? For the most part, most groups, like if you look at New Edition, was just to get out the ghetto. Let's make it big and get out. But what happens when the money starts coming in? What's next? Do we just keep singing? Remember, Bobby Brown was getting better. He was drawing a lot more attention. Opportunity to reset. Hey, what if we did? And what if we can? What if we, instead of him just leaving, like trying to figure ways to work together to build something greater, or saying, hey, what if we decide to do one more album and then each one of us, we all do individual projects, instead of that being such a hard break in the group. And then, hey, after that, we come back together. It's like I said, whatever we're going toward sometimes, and I get it, like out of necessity, out of survival, we come together to build. But once things are built, once we're good, what's the next step? What are we trying to get to? And I think, and a lot of times we lack those conversations, even in our relationships. Where are we at and what are we trying to get to? He says, fools rush in fast. Wise people take a discipline and take time to get it spot on, right? Get it right. Definitely. And it's not a perfect formula. You just got to have the conversation. You got to have the discussions. You got to have the resetting of expectations. What do I want? What do you want? And then we shouldn't have to struggle to come together so much. I think some of our division, honestly, is like small stuff. some of our divisions are just small little things that we just can't get over. Honestly, politically, socially, it's just small things that if we agree to disagree on these points, but realize there's something bigger that we can go after, then we can really make things happen. And we have to be able to, like I said, set expectations. We talk about that word a lot, setting expectations, so we know what to expect in this transaction. What's the outcome of this transaction? What did he say? WIIFUFM. What's in it for you and for me? So definitely having that. So we're gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna come back. We'll talk a little more, and then we're gonna get out of here. Welcome back. All right. So I appreciate you guys for rocking and hanging with us. Just a quick reset. You're watching the Brothers of Legacy, where we're changing our community one conversation at a time, as well as the brothers that we don't stand out, we stand up. I am your host, A.D. Walker, the pusher, the grower, the motivator. Pastor probably may not be coming back because he's having some internet connection. So I'm just going to kind of talk to you guys a little bit longer. But yeah, I just kind of want you to really understand that, because I think we need to change the narrative and how we speak, with a lot of things. This being in particular, where, we don't have a epidemic or a pandemic of struggling to unify. I just think we need to change the conversations of how we come together more, like how to eliminate bad connections, how to increase our communication as far as creating stronger relationships and connections. And we don't have to get stuck in a certain space, because that's what happens. We get stuck. We've had one or two bad connections, or not setting of great expectations, because remember, it's two things: wrong people or bad communication. And now we just kind of write everybody off. We're not connecting any longer, because they're not doing what I want them to do. But have you set the correct expectation? And then they tell you what they want to do, or what they plan to get out of the project. Having those conversations, I think, will eliminate a lot of our issues in our community. We're not having the conversations. We're just walking in with assumptions, and we expect those assumptions to equal the fulfilling of our expectation. But you can't assume that. You can't assume that something's going to happen. You can't assume that you're going to get certain things out of it if it's not discussed. I just assumed that. But you can't assume. You got to have the conversation. You don't know what the person's thinking. They want to utilize what you have to put into the organization, but I don't know what you're trying to get out of it. And if I don't ask, I'll never know. If you don't ever tell, then I'll never know. He said people are quick to complain and moan rather than gratitude and biblical patience. True. But like I said, at the same time, it's got to be conversation. It's got to be conversation. I think we lack that. That's the biggest thing we lack. We don't have the conversations. And then by the time I'm upset, annoyed, and bothered, I don't want to have the conversation any longer. I'm just leaving, or I'm cutting you off. We always talk about the cutoff ministry. And I think we need to take a moment and think about who we're connected to. What's the reason for our connection? What are we trying to accomplish with this connection? And I get there's friends, but there's also those business associates. Like, what are we trying to build in this connection? And get to the root of it. Don't be so quick to cut somebody off, because you might be cutting off someone that can be a great ally in coming, down the line. But get to an understanding. Where the Bible says, in all thy getting, get understanding. A lot of times we lack because we don't get into the understanding of our relationship. What are we here for? What are we setting? What's the goal? What's the bar? What are we trying to reach? And how can we reach it together? So today I kind of want you to evaluate the relationships you have. The ones that are in a bad space, those relationships that are in a bad space. And think about, have we had the communication about expectations? Because I guarantee you, when you begin to talk about, so what did you expect? They start telling you, you're like, that's why you're mad. You're like, oh man, why you say something? I just assumed that you would know, but you're not having those conversations. You're not having those conversations about the relationship we have. What are we trying to build? What up, Mark? Good morning, sir. What are we trying to build here? What are we trying to create? How are we going to be better from this space? And what can I get out of it? And it's got to be, it's always something personal that you get out of it. There's some level, either satisfaction, some level of recognition. Recognition is the one thing that most people are looking for, and not like on a pedestal, just recognition of work, recognition of a job well done. And we have to get into a space where we're not so caught up in not communicating or connecting to so many wrong people that we are not what you call it. we're not building, the better connection. All right. So today I just want I'm challenging you, my challenge, the Brothers of Legacy Challenge. And like I said, all of my conversations are about solving or giving you something that can make your life just a little bit better. So any connections that you feel like have been stirred up, any connection that you feel like are kind of in a rough state, I want you to ask yourself first, have I set expectation, or have we had the expectation conversation when it comes to this relationship? Or are we just coasting on assumptions? Let that marinate. All right. So I appreciate you guys rocking and hanging with us. I'm going to go ahead and roll out. It's 9:51 on the East Coast. If you're in the West, I appreciate you for rocking. Midwest, appreciate it as well, because I know it's early. Again, make sure you share. Sharing is caring. And if you miss any episode of the Brothers of Legacy, make sure you take us on the go. Make sure you check out the Brothers of Legacy podcast. Thank you, Mama McCoy. I appreciate you for always supporting. Make sure you check out the Brothers of Legacy podcast and share that as well. But definitely listen to it. It helps. It helps. We get a little change. We get a little change. Oh, what up, Marcus? Good morning, sir. Yeah, we get a little change from listening to the podcast. So do that. Just put it on, put it in the background. Let someone else say, hey, check this out. Share that. Honestly, sharing that is more of a quick monetization than anything else. I'm gonna just put it out there. You want to bless us? You don't have to give us anything financially. Share our podcast, because we have ad revenue that comes through that directly right now. You get pennies per listen. So just as a note, you want to bless us financially without having to bless us financially, the podcast is where you go. So look up the Brothers Legacy. You'll see the logo and check us out. Listen to some old stuff and do that. Oh, no problem, Aunt Sam. I got it. Holding it down. POP. All right. Thank you, Cheryl. Appreciate it. Thank you. It's a great show as always. All right. So we look forward to seeing you. Same time, same channel. What's tomorrow? Thursday. Thursday. All right. So we look forward to seeing you. As always, continue to stay safe. Keep your 6 feet. Wear your mask. I know. I don't like it either, but it is what it is. All right. So we'll see you in the morning. Always know that we love you, but God loves you more. Stay safe. Peace out. As always, we love you. Know that God loves you more. Stay safe. Thank you guys for hanging, being with us. Sharing is caring. All of my replay peoples that watch in the background that I know